Testing, testing. Aha. Sound achieved, success, and stuff like that. Alright, everyone, or 4, I think it was? Yeah, 4. I am going to be reading a new fanfiction. It's called To Warm a Heart on fanfiction.net under My Little Pony Fanfiction by Vladchovsky. Rated M, English Humor Romance Reviews, blah blah blah, ID 7471348. Right, just remember that. Chapter 1, space, the new guy. Okay, there's just nothing there. The door swung open violently, the walls vibrating from the heavy door hitting the soft drywall. In stumbled into a figure, half drunk, half exhausted from a day full of drinking. This figure's name was Cirrus, or at least that's what everyone who knows him called him, which is a very short list. People didn't like Cirrus, not because he was ugly, quite the opposite. He was 6 feet tall, with a decent build, dark hazel eyes, light skin complexion, and raven black hair. People didn't like him because he was, and for all intents and purposes, an asshole. He slumped down onto his bed, mumbling something under his breath, as he slowly closed his eyes and fell asleep, the alcohol still fresh in his veins, and his head pounding. The next morning, Cirrus slowly opened his eyes, still groggy from the night before. The sun was shining out bright on his face. The sun stung his eyes and made his head ache, making a slow return to reality a lot harder. As he regained his sight, Cirrus looked up at the blue sky, and as the wind blew against his skin, he felt calm laying where he was for seemed like hours. Wait a minute, whispered Cirrus. Where's my roof? Where's my fucking roof? Cirrus sat up quickly, causing his sight to blur and his head to pound for a couple of seconds. When the pounding stopped, he looked around and saw that he was not in his apartment, but in a field. The air didn't have the regular city smells, pollution and piss, but rather apples and flowers. It was a good change, Cirrus thought. Was I fucking abducted in my fucking sleep, yelled Cirrus. Seriously, what the fuck? Who put someone in a fucking field when they're sleeping? It was soon clear that no one was around to hear his rant, so Cirrus put all his anger aside and tried to find a way back to civilization. It took Cirrus an hour of walking to find a farmhouse. And where there's a farmhouse, there's usually people. Hicks, sure, but people. Hello. Is anyone here with an intelligence higher than a chair? Yeah, I need to use your phone. There's no answer. Hello. I didn't think you people didn't understand English. Again, no answer. After Cirrus got through his insults, the door slowly creaked open. Opened. Okay. Out walked a red stallion with a dark orange mane chewing on a piece of hay. It looked at Cirrus with a blank expression at first, then switching to a wide-eyed, almost surprised look. It and Cirrus looked at each other, not saying a word for a while, until Cirrus spoke up. Very fucking funny. Send a horse, must be on your way of telling me to fuck off. Well, fuck you too. But with that, Cirrus began walking down the road for what he suspected was the nearest town. The Crimson Pony just stood there, shaking his head. It was another hour of walking till Cirrus saw what looked to be in the distance a town, but it was different. The town was abnormally bright and colorful, with silhouettes going about their business. I'm obviously not in Romania, Cirrus thought as he slowly approached the town. Cirrus walked slowly towards the outskirts of the town, now being able to see that people were walking on all fours. This seemed to be strange, but not enough for him to turn tail and leave, because, he might get a good laugh out of it. As Cirrus, why so serious, continued to approach the town, he noticed the air was starting to smell sweeter with the scent of candies and lilacs and bubble gum, all those good things, a big change from the piss-poor air quality of the city. Cirrus also noticed something about the silhouettes of town people. They didn't seem human. Indeed. Water break. Nice wet water. Don't we all love water? Yes, you do too. Alright, where was I? Cirrus was now near the back of the furthest house. The houses looked European in design, but he hasn't seen the architecture like it other than in history books from the 1600s. He kept his back up against the wall in order to recon, in quotes, the town's inhabitants. I wonder if he did bunny ears while doing that. Yeah, I could just see him doing that, just doing all super stealthy shit. He's just thinking to himself, I'm gonna bunny ears recon the town's inhabitants. He didn't want to take the chance that the ponies were psychotic. Or people, it says. Excuse me, were psychotic. Even though that was a very far-fetched scenario. But still, now Sirius could see that the inhabitants were human after all. They were ponies? What the fuck was all that was running through Sirius's mind. The ponies weren't like any pony that Sirius had ever seen before. The only other was the red pony, which he passed off as a sign to go fuck himself. Fuck it, I'm going if they like it or not, Sirius said to himself. Sirius slowly moved from his cover and began walking to the ponies. Each pony had a different color, coat, and mane. Sirius also noticed that each one had a mark on its flank. As Sirius moved closer to the ponies, they all began looking at him with stunned expressions. Sirius began stepping into the many shops, knocking on the doors and walls, and calling for someone to help him. But in every shop, all he could find was more and more multicolored ponies, all looking at him with the same half-surprised, half-puzzled look. Finally, Sirius spoke up out of frustration. Seriously, is there anyone here who can fucking help me? Sirius started to yell at the crowd of ponies. Now his throat was beginning to throb. He couldn't keep this up for much longer. Well, if you stopped being so rude, maybe we would, came a voice from the crowd of ponies. The voice seemed to be strangely southern. Sirius turned around to where the voice came from and spotted an orange mare with light blonde mane and brown Stetson hat. Did you just talk? Sirius began stuttering. What a stupid question. Of course horses couldn't talk. You darn tootin' I did. Sirius couldn't believe what he just heard. Did a horse just said something to him? Horses shouldn't talk. Sirius' mind was going on a million. He was still drunk. Was he high? Yeah, that's gotta be it. I'm high, and all of this is some sort of illusion. Did I say something wrong? You alright? Orange Pony began reaching her hoof towards Sirius. He quickly swatted her away and began backing up into the crowd. Say the fuck back. Don't fucking touch me. I'll fucking end all of you. Just then he felt a blunt pain in the back of his head. He fell limp to the ground. The pain shot down to his spine and hit every part of his body. It was the worst he had ever felt. He could hear soft mumblings, but couldn't make out exactly what they were saying. Sirius couldn't stay conscious for very long, but as long as these things didn't turn him into a soup or put him in a bath full of light, he couldn't care less. Sirius then blacked up, hoping to God that these things were vegetarians. End of chapter 1. Ha ha ha, cliffhanger, you crafty author bastard. Well, at least this isn't as big as the last one. That took about an hour to read. Anyway, tell me what you think if I need to speak up a bit more again, because I can just raise the decibel quality, or decibel stuff. I don't know. I'm just using Audacity for probably the first time. But until we meet again, I think I shall call it. And stuff. Okay. That was a pain. Oh fuck, still recording. Off.